What's going on, guys? How we doing? Hope you've all had an incredible week. Just want to say a massive big ups to everyone for last week's video, for the messages, the people reaching out in DMs. A lot of people experiencing the same thing. A lot of people much further ahead on their journey and also experiencing the same thing. So it's nice to know that we all go through this. Like I say, I've been through it before, and I'm actually buzzing. And I've never felt better with trading since having that hiccup. And I think it's something that I properly needed to happen. You kind of lose sight sometimes of your actual goal and your mission and where you're headed. And for me, trading is the tool to everything. It creates a lot more wealth than absolutely anything. You know, some people might think, oh yeah, but you've got community, it makes loads of dough. It actually doesn't. Once you factor in like taxes, corporation tax, VAT, outgoings for things, you don't actually make as much as you think. Then you have your personal tax on top. Don't get me wrong, it's incredible. And I have a couple of other things that make me money, yes, but trading outweighs all of them. And this is the thing, like if you're max funded, for instance, or you've got 100k personal account or whatever, and you're averaging 10% months, you're literally outweighing all these other businesses that you can think of. And that's the crazy thing, right? And it's easy to lose sight of that sometimes and forget like all the time and the effort that you've put into mastering a craft and to actually get into a point where you're like, I'm good, I know what I'm doing, I can make money, I'm consistent, I'm doing my thing. It's very easy then for your mindset to shift somewhere else, start a new venture or start something else, and you perhaps forget what got you there in the first place. Like I say, massive lesson for me, and I was glad that I could share that with people, and I'm looking forward to the comeback. It's always stronger than the setback, and yeah, I'm feeling good. So today's video, I get a lot of people ask me how I journal, how I do markups, what do I do it on, can I share a template, blah, blah, blah. I'm going to drop the template that I use for journaling and for marking up and for testing and for whatever else. I'm going to drop it in the description. It's not the exact replica of mine in the sense of the colours, some of the settings. There's a lot of things I've tweaked and changed to suit me. But one of the guys in Hustle, big ups Yokai, he made the template for us, and a lot of us use it. Some people use other things. I'm not claiming this is ours or anything like that. I've seen a few of these floating about very similar. I mean, it's pretty much a calendar. Like, it's not like anybody owns it. But yeah, I'll drop it in there. You can copy it, replicate it, do what you want to do with it. And I'm just going to go on the chart. I'm just going to show you like how I'd do a markup, how I would journal, what I would do, blah, blah, blah. And hopefully take some value from it. Like I say, people keep asking this, like I've got some kind of secret to how I do it. I've shared something very similar before. This is probably the new way of doing it, but it's still the same process. So yeah, let's get into it, guys. This is the template. It's essentially a trade journal. I've got my trade plan. I've got testing section, which is literally just a page I've added. It's nothing glamorous. I have this calendar, which you can add in. You know, it's just a normal calendar on Notion. You can add in all your jazz. And you can literally click on, I don't know, say you took a trade here. You can click on add an item. You can, I like to add like a little fucking receipt. You can add whatever you want. The date, the pair will come up. You know, so US 30, the session, trend, direction, profit and loss, risk, R, fits plan, order type, account. And then if you click on trade, you can actually add in the higher time frame, the mid time frame, the lower time frame, and brain dump. Brain dump for me, the one that you get probably won't say that. I think it says comments or something like that. But it's essentially just where I write, you know, how I felt during the trade, any takeaways from the trade, anything that I perhaps noticed I didn't do or should have done or could have done or whatever. I'll drop that in the brain dump section. And then on the lower time frame markups, it's simply M1, 5 seconds, outcome, you don't have to use 5 seconds. Mid time frame is, again, M15, M5. I'll log both. And then higher time frame wise is just daily and 4 hour. Again, you can add in new ones. You can do whatever it is you wish. And then you'd click save on that, and then that will just show us on the 4th of July, is this or something? 4th of July, we took a break even, you know, if it's US 30, there's no commas, blah, blah, blah. For the title, I normally just write like London short, right? And I know that what that basically does, and I'll do this for every trade, any trade taken, if it's a loss, a BE, or a win, I'll log it, so that what happens is when I get to the end of the month, and I'm doing like my end of month review, I can go over this and I can go, right, I took, I don't know, 4 shorts, 5 longs, I took 3 BEs, 4 losses, couple of wins. Like, I can work out what's going on, and then from that I'll have my plan, which I'm still fully recreating. I'll have my plan and I will just go, right, this, did it fit? Yeah, did it fit? Yeah. You got to be honest with this. It's very easy when it says profit or loss. You know, you can lie and go, I won. But just be real. So, if you took a 10% win, let's say it's $10,000 on an FTMO, it will highlight that you made 10,000 that day. Then if you took a loss here, for instance, and you just did, I don't know, minus 1,000, that day, you'll be like minus 1,000. And it kind of gives you a way of working things out on your P&L basis and whatnot. It's just a great way to go over months, like I showed in the last week's video when I had a fuck up. I had a bad month. If you're not logging this stuff, you're never going to know if you've actually, what trades you took and what caused it. Because like I said to you, what I noticed is I just wasn't sticking to the plan. I was trying to change things all the time. And if I hadn't logged that, I never would have known that. And I would have just blamed it on market conditions or, the market hates me today or something bullshit, yeah? I wouldn't have actually taken the responsibility and gone, oh, I've got data logged. And realistically, you should have this done for every month, right? It's up to you whether you want to do it when you're actually testing. I have a separate thing for testing where I'll just log all trades taken testing. This is where markups also comes in really great. But I tend to log any trade that's taken and executed on MT4 gets logged on this. So then that way I can go, right, these are trades I'm actually putting risk on. Why? What's going on? Even if you're on a demo, it's a great way to start to see what you see in a live environment, because it's very easy when you're doing back testing and when you're doing markups. It's so easy to perhaps go, I wouldn't have took that, I wouldn't have done that, I'll delete that, I'll do this. But then that never gives you a direct representation of what it's like trading. In a live market, you all know, in the space of 10 minutes, if you're trading an aggressive way on the seconds or the M1 or whatever, you could take 3 or 4 hits if you're playing decisionals, extremes, and it's very easy to happen, right? And if you don't log all of those hits because you're like, oh, I wouldn't have done that in real life, then you're not going to learn. So that's the journal template. And then we have markups. Which again is just pretty simple. Go on Wednesday, you would click 15th, you'd click the pair, US 30. You can add in whatever pair you want here, so you could just type in, I don't know, what's it called? GBP USD, and you can just click create and it will add it in. Click complete. I usually only do that when it's done. So I tend to do a London markup after London lull, during London lull, sorry, and then I'll do a New York markup at the end of the day. You can do them both at the end of the day, it's completely up to you. But again, same principle, higher time frame, mid time frame, lower time frame, and mid time frame for some reason has changed. I had this on M5 and M15, but it's not. I need to go into the settings and change it. But you can just quickly, you could just go like this, M5, and then come off it, go back on it, drag that there, and then they're in order again. But you can actually go into the settings and mech about with it. And then obviously this one's got comments. Again, I have brain dump usually. And the thing is as well, I do journal. So I do have a journal, which I write in usually my thoughts more so. I find writing with a pen and actually doing it day to day has been better for me recently. And I used to love doing it before. But I still have the comments, because you might want to write something like, I don't know, let's say today's short... I don't know, today's short played the range instead of specific specific POI, right? I'll put these comments and annotations on the markups, but what I'm noticing a lot of US 30, for instance, is when you're getting in on the lower time frame, a lot of the time it'll play off the range rather than a specific POI. And as long as you can cover the range comfortably, just get in at the open, done, right? So you can start dropping little comments like that, or you could put, I had major FOMO today, everyone got in a trade, I didn't, so I then did dumb shit. I know it might look like, oh yeah, whatever, but when you go back over your data, whether it's quarterly, monthly, weekly, whatever, you'll read this shit and be like, fucking hell, I keep saying that I get FOMO. So I've obviously got a problem with FOMO. And then you can try and dig into why you had FOMO. What causes the FOMO? Is it being a part of a community? Is it the people you follow on Instagram? Is it the circle you're in? Do you discuss too much about trading? All these different things you've got to kind of learn about yourself. There's no specific reason for FOMO. There's always individual reasons. And a lot of it comes from our childhood and from things we've experienced in previous life that, is kind of like a trauma to us, and it kind of triggers that. So it's like, if you keep writing that same thing down, or you keep writing I'm scared to hit the button when the setups come, you can quite comfortably here go, well, if I keep saying I'm scared to hit the button, then maybe I haven't got self-belief in my edge. Maybe I don't believe in what I'm doing. So maybe I can kind of structure things on how do I actually go about, doing this, doing that, whatever, right? So I think that's the great thing to have, whether you want to do it in journaling or on that. It's on the template. And then when you're done with this, you can literally drag the week here, drag it into the archive, And then you've got all the different months, weeks, whatever, where you can just literally throw your markups in and they're all complete and you can just go back over them. And then you've got your higher time frame, 4 hour, M15, M5, your M1, any comments if there were. Like I say, I do heavily annotate my charts. I tend to drop the TradingView links as well. I do a London one, I do a New York one. If nothing comes, I won't do a markup. So for me, it's not a case of if the market moves, I'll just get in. It's like, what I'll do is it has to fit a plan that I'm testing or that I actually have. So that what I'll do is I'll go, here's my plan. How many trades in the session fit that plan? And if there's 3 or 4 trades that fit the plan, I'm like, right, I need to log them all because either I missed them or I wasn't a part of them or whatever, right? And what this does is you build up a massive bundle of data that you'll have years and years of data where you can just go, right, in May, for instance, on week 2, I notice something on Thursday that I keep seeing, blah, blah, right? And what you'll notice is that consistent process of doing that, you know, week in, week out, month in, month out, it gives you data to go back over to test. And this is where people go like, how do you gather your data? And it's like, well, markups are a massive thing for me because I'll mark up and I annotate the chart so heavily that I'll be like, right, you know, it took 3 pips. You can measure like, oh, so every time it goes 3 pips, I could move BE because if it's a true move from a true area, it won't come back. After the first M1 boss, it's likely to come and remitigate the entry point, so maybe I don't want to do this. There's so many things you can add in. You know, after a 50-minute change of character, have we had some liquidity taken before the POR? There's so many things you can add. And you can do that through the markups. Then you can go through the markups. You can tick off things like tally charts. Like, oh, look. So I did this, boom, boom, boom. Did this, boom, boom, boom. How many times did it do that? That many times. Right. Do I want to add this into my plan? Yes or no. Like slowly doing things like that. Along with backtesting, of course, because backtesting you can work out specific results and data. So that's important. And then, like I say, you just do that 5 days a week, right? If you miss a day, say you're out, still try and come home and do it. I always do. If I'm out, I still come home and I go over my markups. I think it's important to do. I think these are the things as traders that we should be doing non-stop, you know, and then underneath it's got like a little goals tab. We should be doing these things non-stop because at the end of the day, this is our data, this is how we improve, this is how we see where we're going wrong. Trading is so much mentally based as well. If you're writing down the constant thoughts and feelings during the session, I do it every day, how I feel before the session, during the session, after the session, if I'm in a trade, I write down everything that's going through my head because it's the only way I can learn that maybe something keeps coming back up and I can spend time working on that. So like I said, that's the journal. I'm going to drop that in the description below. It'll be a Notion link. It should work fine. I don't see why it wouldn't. If it doesn't, like I say, I don't want to share this because I've got 6 or 7 months worth of data on here. I've got the whole year of trades on here. I've got goals on here. I've got family stuff on here. So I'm not going to risk putting it out and then someone manages to duplicate it and they get my whole life on there. That's just private stuff. Do you know what I mean? But hopefully, like I said, the link should work fine. I'm not a Notion wizard either. So like if something gets stuck, YouTube, mate, there's plenty of people rocking up with Notion things on there. But yeah, like I say, big ups Yokai again because he made this for us in Hustle, and yeah, it's been really good to have. I always just had the calendar and then I had markups separate on a different thing. Having them next to each other is pretty mint. Again, you know, it's all the same shit. However you log, I'm not saying this how you need to. I'm just sharing how I do it because everybody seems to think I've got this amazing way. So what I thought we'd do is we'd perhaps do a markup on TradingView just to kind of show the thought process. So, I mean, at the moment, there's not a bunch to mark up. So let's go back to like, I don't know. Where are we? What's this? 13th of June, 15th of June. Let's go back over here somewhere. And then we'll do it from here. So let's do this. Right, okay. So let's say we're starting the 4 hour. So I always look at the daily, right? I'm always aware of it, but I don't log it because it doesn't change that often. I tend to log it maybe once a week on a Monday, and then I'll re-log it on a Monday, and you kind of see what's going down. So 4 hour wise, again, I will log it, but there's a lot of the time where I'm like, well, do I need to log this because it's doing the same shit? So again, if it's the same as the day before, like it's just falling out the sky, if the candles are here, you know, and then now they're here, the low hasn't yet gone. Yes, we're in an extreme, so we could see like some kind of pullback. But overall, until the low goes, we might not see the pullback. So I'll log it. Like, it's not hard, you know what I mean? What I do is I just do copy chart image, and then I drop the chart image, and then I do copy link, and I've got both. If I want to share a link to the community, I can just drop them a link, and I've got both. It just looks a bit neater. So 4 hour wise, like I say, where we are now, we're in an extreme. This pair doesn't tend to fucking give a shit sometimes. Once it's going, it's going. So I'd be waiting for the low to perhaps go before we might get any pullbacks. We could pull back into this inside bar range, whatever's right. 15 AM was where I do most of my work now, like reconstructing my plan and stuff. I'm not going to start sharing all that because I did it before, and I know loads of you use it still. I found the old plan the other day, and it's jokes how simple it was. And that was the plan that got me really consistent. I know loads of you use it, but if I drop my plan straight away, when I know a few people said to me, once I get my plans sorted, can I reshare it? I just don't see the benefit in doing so, because it's my plan that makes sense in my head, that I've got data on, that I believe in. For you to copy it, you won't believe in it, you won't understand it, you won't know how to execute it. It's not worth doing, and eventually your plan's just going to be in your head anyway, and you should just know it off by heart. And that's why a plan should be quite a simple checklist. It shouldn't be fucking paragraphs, because you're never going to know it off by heart. You're going to spend all your time reading a paragraph, the trade's going to be done, right? But I'll happily show like how I created the plan. I want to try and document some of the journey and stuff, you know, getting myself back on my feet. But like I say, so at this point here, right, so obviously 15-minute wise, right, as we're looking at this, you know, we've had a change of character here, taking out this range on inside bar and Choch. Overall, we're bearish. We can fucking clearly see that. Yes, we could expect a pullback. Again, what I'm noticing on this pair is don't just expect a pullback, wait for it to show you it's going to pull back. I'd much rather take a hit, getting taken out, trying to catch, you know, the continuation, than not taking the trade, assuming it's going to pull back and taking some shitty long. Yes, we do, to a degree here. Does that you take this inside bar out, and then you take this, you know, one candle jobby, then that goes, then that goes. You could go, oh, we had some signs of bullish order flow, we came into this supply zone, we've then realigned bearish, so I'm happy to take shorts out of this buy to sell. Until that high is breached, I'm like, but it's all good in the hood to short. So, like I say, I'd just be marking this shit up. And like you said, you know it goes down, because let's say you've missed it, or let's say you've watched the whole session back. But what's important to do here is training your brain to see the same thing, you know, happening and playing out over and over again. So you can mark this up. You can obviously heavily annotate it, you know, saying came into supply. So then gave us a MTF Choch, which realigned us. You know, so you've got that mid-time frame Choch. And then from here, it's like a case of, you know, take a screenshot of that, go and stick that into, you know, so you'd literally grab that, you'd copy that, you'd go back to Notion if it lets me go back. Go back to Notion, you'd come over here, you'd click on Wednesday, you'd go mid-time frame markup, M15, you'd go here, you'd copy and paste it, you'd go on to the next one, right? Like that's literally how you do it. And you would do that for the whole day, right? So you'd go back here, you'd go on to, say, 5M, see what happened on the 5 minute, building some liquidity. We want to see maybe that liquidity taken out. Got a random line there. Go on the 1M. Again, you know, I'd be looking at this as this is our early inducement. So see what happens here. Liquidity. So waiting. So, you know, you can mark here, like, a lot of people asked me the other day about a reel. They were like, you know, why did you not take the first tap? I've been speaking about it for years. Like, the first mitigation of POIs tends to be the liquidity. So I will wait for second mitigation. Again, this is where you get data, because if you don't log these things, you know, perhaps here people are seeing, I'm guessing here people will be seeing a Choch. And this is where, like, Choch is incredible, right? I don't care what anyone says, yeah. Choch is used by absolutely everybody now. Some people might call it momentum shifts. Choch is the same. Boss, BMS, whatever you want to call it. It's all the same shit. But it's not like it's this fad thing where it's like, oh, the Choch is like a way to get in the market all the time. It's some secret sauce. It's not. It's using your fucking noggin and understanding when to play Choch, when to play flips, when to play last points of demands, last points of supplies. Not just to go, oh, look, it Choched here, it Choched here, it Choched here. Because yes, it fucking Choches everywhere. Like, just like it momentum shifts everywhere. Just it's all about the higher time frame perspective, the analysis, the sequence of events that's happened. I've preached that for a long fucking time now. Don't just use Choch for the sake of it. There's so much more to it. And, you know, like I say, we teach that in depth. There's a lot of recaps I've posted before. There's recaps on the Hustle YouTube. Like, we go over it quite a lot. But now we've obviously had that first mitigation fail. I'd be looking to get involved if it's there. So, you know, we'll see what happens. Obviously here, we take out this low. So you're like, okay, cool, I can get involved. There. And then you can look here and you can say, well, you're in your whole buy to sell. Stop positioning here, I mean, not the best. I'd like to cover the highs, but again, I'm not trying to give away too much of my plan at the moment, or saucy. But you could say here, you can mark this up, and then that can do its thing. And then you can be like, right, I went BE after the first break, which would be there. And then you can start doing things like you can measure, for instance, say you're here, you can get the measuring tool, and let's say sometimes one thing I was looking into is how many pips away does BE hold. So it's like, that's the fucking time one, sausage. Why have I got the other one in here? That's dead. Hang on. Price range. Right, so you go here and you can measure, like, okay, this one here, 2.7. So, like, what I was working out is most trades that run, like, sort of 3 pips, you can then kind of get to BE before they pull back and mitigate you. But these are all things. You can leave that on there. You can annotate that. You can go, right, I'm testing for BE. This trade, did 3 pips. Then I went BE. How many times does that take you out? How many times does a trade take out a low here? And then, how often after that low goes, how often do we pull back after a low goes, right? Liquidity's taken out. Do we get an aggressive pullback? How often is, M1 ranges being respected, right? Let's say you did get involved here. You'd be like, right, why did I take a loss here? Why did I lose here? Is that your plan? If that fits your plan and your entry model and you took a loss there, there's no drama, right? Like I said before, until that high's gone, the trade idea is valid. So it's like, how do I know when to, and this is what I was saying a minute ago, you could take, sometimes you could take a hit, and then it might go, if you don't have the mindset to take the third trade, or you perhaps want to learn how to eliminate those. That's something we've been really working on lately, is how do you eliminate those early losses. Like I said before, I spoke about it a long time ago. A lot of the time, the first mitigations of POIs will fail. There's other reasons behind why and when you can play the first mitigation. There's a couple of different factors, but you learn all this from doing this. If you've got, let's say, right, you've got 100 markups and this same thing happens over and over again, you're not going to take this trade ever, because you're going to go, well, 9 times out of 10 it don't work. I'm going to wait. And if it just pops the high, whatever. You stop a loss, you don't get a trade, we move on, tomorrow's a new day, right? You can log things like how often so let's get this trade to do its thing and pull back or whatever. Right, so here, right, major liquidity's taken out, right? Major point of liquidity goes there. So you can go, right, that's probably my target, right? Major liquidity pool, how often after, sorry, ignore the spelling, I'm trying to type quick. Major liquidity pool, how often after this do we get a pullback? We're inducing people. We're taking people out, we're inducing people there, then we come and induce the highs, then what happens next? Like, all this stuff, right? Get it nice and neat. Obviously, I'm doing it quite quick. I don't want this video to be ridiculously long. But all these different things are factors that you can log, and you should be logging every single day. And then, like, if you haven't got a plan, these are things you start logging. You look at a move, see the move happen, and rather than just get in here and go, yeah, cool, I would have got in there in real life, yeah, so that's 1 to fucking 10 or whatever. Be realistic and go, right, okay, maybe I missed that in real life, or maybe I didn't see this happening in real life. Why did this happen? Okay, well, this took out some liquidity. This gave us a charge. Okay, it came off the extreme. It didn't breach the high. We had liquidity to target. You start building a picture, right? That's how you should be trading, building a picture and a narrative behind all your ideas, because then you start to follow a systematic approach and a probability approach that if you just execute over and over again, which I didn't do recently, you'll be chilling. So that's kind of what I'm doing. I'm literally doing that on all time frames. So 4 hour, 15, 5, 1. And if I want the seconds, I'll do it. Remember, if you are trading the seconds, you get like about 10 days and then you ain't getting them again. So it is great to log and use. Same with a minute, you only get like 6 weeks. So make sure you're logging it. If you're missing a day, if you're not getting anywhere, if you're finding your results are shit, this is the shit. This is where I'm back at. I'm back at, I never stopped doing the markups, but I perhaps got a little bit carried away with constant refining, that the markups kept changing, the journaling kept changing. Get your edge, have your edge. Only show trades here that are your edge. If they're not, fuck them off. Journal everything you take. Write down your thoughts, write down your mindset, actually put it onto paper, voice note yourself, even record yourself doing shit like this and watch it back, because you'll start to see, oh, I keep saying the same word, or I did this, or I did that, or I speak too quick, or I'm a bit nervy, or I wasn't sure, or I hesitated. Like, all these different things. Do them, log them, save them, go over them. It's like anything, professional sport. any kind of business, you've got to put lots of time and effort in. You know, I got a lot of messages from people saying they're struggling to and all this. Are you doing all these things? You know, are you doing everything in the video? Are you journaling? Can you prove that you've got all the data? Have you got markups? Do you even have an edge? Do you have a plan? Do you know what pair you're trading? Do you know the characteristics of that pair? Are you actually trading for you, or are you waiting for someone else to tell you what to do? Are you following signals? There's so many different things that it could be. Is your mindset on form? Like, mindset gets neglected way too fucking much in this game. Like, it's the most important thing ever. Like, I'm telling you now, fuck your technicals. If you've got a good mindset, you can have the shittest plan and you can still make money. It's about being able to execute it. It's about not having FOMO, being emotional, all that shit. About having belief in your system, the confidence, the understanding, when to walk away, when to be present. There's so many things, and I've gone back onto this, like, journey and focus on getting back and all that. You know, I stopped my reading, I stopped all the shit I was doing on continuous learning of like mindset stuff and just development, personal development, physique, mindset, mental health. You know, I kind of stopped all that because I was kind of a bit complacent, and it's let me know, wagwan. Do you know what I mean? I'm only human, we're all only human, we're all going to have those moments where it's like, rah, fucking hell, life's trying to tell me something. You know, learn to flip your L's to wins. It's something that I've got really good at. It took a lot of time, but if you can understand there's a reason this has happened and why has it happened, and you can flip it on its head, and you can be like, well, there's a win from this, I'm going to take the win instead of the loss, you're fucking chilling. I hope there's some benefit in this video. People have asked for it for a long time, so I thought I'd make one. I don't want to give away too much stuff on the video. It's unfair to the guys in Hustle and whatnot, so it's just a very basic, brief rundown. But hopefully it gives you an insight into what I'm doing. No matter what edge you have, you can implement this into your daily trading. And yeah, hopefully there's a bit of value. I hope you all have an incredible week. Big ups to all your support and love. It means the world to me. And let's kill it, guys. Peace and love.